Yeah, not that I can recall. This is a first. If I did, it was a while ago. But it's a good feeling to have everybody back.
What you mentioned? You are old school. You played 4 games in preseason as a player, probably.
Sure.
Um, what convinces you that September 12th that no play time in preseason has no effect?
That's everybody has their own philosophy on it. Some guys play a lot. Some guys don't play. Obviously, you don't win a championship in the preseason if you go undefeated. So keeping your guys healthy for the season is important. Um, I've been on both sides of that. As a coach, where we did not play guys and they performed well in the opener and in the first part of the season, and we played guys that played well. So I don't think there's a science to it. I think it's personal preference from the coach.
Alex, you've oh, go ahead.
When we talk about continuity, we talk about the players, and you got like the whole coaching staff back too. I mean, how important is that to the continuity?
It's great because last year we all came in, we're all learning the system together, and piecing it together. Whereas this year we come in with it, our foundation's been set, and now we're just trying to grow in our system. So it's been really nice to have everybody back.
Alex, you talked about Baker's fitness, the work he's put in the last couple of years. When you look at him in the practice field, how does that manifest? Like, is it quickness with the footwork? Is it velocity on the ball? Like, how would you describe how you see it play out, like tangibly?
Yeah, no, he's done a great job. He's done an outstanding job getting his body ready. He did last year as well, and that shows up in his quickness, his conditioning. To go through all the drill work and not be winded. So he's in a really good place. His footwork right now, I think, is improved over last year. I mean, you think about last year of having to learn the footwork as opposed to this year being able to refine it. So he's made leaps and bounds in that way, especially under center. What we ask him to do in the drop back game from under center, he's made big strides.
One of the more underrated parts of his game is the elusiveness in the pocket. Is the fitness conditioning help with kind of that reemerging a little bit more?
Absolutely. He did a lot of great things with his legs for us last year. Picked up a lot of first downs where we had to move out of the pocket and pick it up with his legs, and that's part of being in great condition, is having that ability to pick up the first down and then come back to the huddle and be able to operate in the system without being exhausted.
We talked a lot the second half of last year about how Baker made those big strides over the last, whatever, 8, 9 games. Now, year 2 of the system, how do you think he can get even better this year?
Just a fuller understanding of what we're trying to accomplish on offense, I think, and then just taking what he did at the end of the season last year and then rolling that over into this season. That's our mentality. It starts with turnovers. We don't turn the ball over, and he made great strides at the end of the year with that. So just carrying that over, keeping that mindset, protect the football, protect the team.
Alex, you mentioned the footwork. That seemed to be the big emphasis last season. Was there something this offseason that you guys really emphasized with Baker that you wanted him to improve on?
Not particularly. Footwork continued to improve on, which he did throughout the summer through his workouts. Probably just a better understanding, protection understanding, which we felt pretty good at towards the end of the year, but we could always improve in those areas.
It might have been a surprise to some, at least to me, how efficient Laletta has looked. Is it at all a surprise to you guys?
Yeah, Kyle does a great job. I mean, he works his butt off in practice, and he gets his opportunity. He's made the most of it for sure. He looked really good down in Jacksonville, had great control of the offense, and he's continuing to make plays for us.
We haven't had a chance to really see it in practice yet. How excited are you to see Odell thrown into the mix based off the way you guys finished last year and the fact that you mentioned you bring 11 starters?
Yeah, anytime you could add an elite athlete and a great player like Odell back, it's only going to make you better. I said that in the spring, and we're doing a lot of work on the side. I know we're not getting the timing in team settings, but there's a lot of timing work going on in between periods and the special teams working. He's over on the side. We've done some things with game scripts where we've actually scripted a series of plays for him to get him conditioning, and then the individual routes on air with Baker has been really good work for us, and we'll continue that.
In the past, they've struggled at times to develop their chemistry. Injuries have played a part in that. New systems have played a part in that. It seems to me that he's going to be playing with a different Baker Mayfield than he did last time because of his comfortability in the scheme, his confidence that he gained from last season. Is that going to help them, hit the ground running a little bit more and kind of finally find that connection that I think everybody's been waiting to see?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. I think they're in a really good place right now as far as their mind space. All the work they did in the offseason, spending time together, just continuing to build that bond, and hopefully that'll show this year on the field.
Your quarterback in the past, chemistry with the receiver. Does it take longer with certain guys? Does it come easier with certain guys in terms of just being on the same page? not even verbally.
Sure. I think the biggest thing is just consistency. Consistency in route depth, consistency in routes, running techniques. Once the quarterback has that vision of what that looks like, then he can play faster and anticipate getting the ball out quicker because he knows exactly what's going to happen. So that's what we always preach: consistency. Be at the right depth. Use the right techniques, and the quarterback. Then now you can easily pick up the body language and start to build that rapport with your receivers.
And all the reps, we've been seeing them work, even though it's been one-on-one. You think that's going to be a big help?
That's huge. That's huge. Yep, absolutely.
Donovan Peoples-Jones has been really good this camp based on what we've seen. How did he come back this camp? How did he look? And then just what have you thought of him?
That's a great. He came back this year with a lot of confidence. I think last year early on, it wasn't there. He was still trying to learn the system and learn what his role was. But after the success he had through last season, to see him come back and have a great camp, he's a guy that has great position flexibility. You can plug him in at all three spots of the wide receivers, and he knows exactly what to do. So he's had a really good camp, and really proud of him.
How important is that jump for a guy from year 1 to year 2?
It's huge, and usually you see that from year 1 to year 2. Year 1, the eyes are big. They're rookies trying to figure out what the NFL game's like, and then they have some success, and they build on that, and that's what they've shown with Donovan.
When you look at the receivers, I'm talking about the back end. We talk a lot about the top guys, but it seems like you guys are, 8, 9, 10 deep at that position. How tight is that competition, and from your perspective, from an evaluation standpoint, how difficult are they really making that evaluation for you to pick and choose which guy you keep for that 5th or 6th spot?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. That guys have done well. Like you said, we do have good depth out there at the receiver position. We've got guys that that have played in games and we've trusted to make plays for us, and they've come through. So it's a battle that continues, but it's a good problem to have as a coach. You'd rather have guys that that you're struggling whether they make it or not, as opposed to trying to find guys to fill your roster. So that group always works hard, and they're doing a great job.
Alex, can you explain why you say it's huge that Baker and Odell are throwing on air? Isn't it a big jump from there to be on the team?
It is, again, but I go back to the body language, the technique of the route running, the depth, just being in the right place at the right time and having the timing with the quarterback's feet. That you can get on air. Obviously, it ramps up when you're in a team setting, but you've put all those reps in practice, that muscle memory takes over, and hopefully you come out on the same page.
Hey, Alex, 13 looks game ready to us. Do you expect him to be out there in week 1?
I hope so. We all hoping for that. I'm not sure where that's going right now, but he looks really good. He's running well. He's coming in out of his breaks. He's cutting well. Hopefully we can get him up there for the opener.
What's impressed you most about him, the way he's putting his work?
Always his work ethic, his ability to go out and just do anything you ask him to do. We stressed him out last week with some of those series drives, and he responds. A guy will just do anything you ask for him, and he wants to be great, and he works at it. And that's all those guys that are great players. They all have that work ethic, and he does.
Did you think you'd be running and cutting, in the spring?
I was excited, very excited to see him when he got back, that he was in the shape that he was in. Yes.
You talk about everybody coming back for year 2, including the coaching staff. How different can this offense look than it did a year ago, as far as whether it's different personnel packages, different play concepts than you ran last year?
Yeah, obviously, we felt like we did some good things offensively, so we'll continue to be better in those areas. And at the same time, we're always creating, always coming up with new scheme, new plays to counter off of our core plays. So that's always evolving.
Would you say the identity is still run the ball and run play action off of that?
That's who we are, yes, absolutely. Now, the wrinkles might be a little different off of that, yeah, but that's our foundation.
So on that, Baker seemed he had a lot of success with that play action and rolling out. So now teams have had a whole off season to figure out how to counter that. So then how do you counter with their adjustment?
It's all counter punch and punch, yeah. So if they're playing the keepers, then we should be running the football. If they're playing the run, then we should be keeping it and running action. So it's choose your poison defensively, But we're ready. We have the punch ability and we have the counter punch ability.
Odell told us the hardest thing for him being hurt was watching the game in Kansas City and thinking he could have just made one play to help.
Sure.
Have you talked to him about that being a motivational factor, or have you even thought, hey, it would have been nice to have him for that one play he's talking?
No, as a coach, you go out and you play with who's there. It's tough. You can't look and hope and wish, but I know he would have helped us if he'd been there.
But off that, you guys finished 6th in efficiency last year. That was despite some this year, what does he do to your ceiling offensively? Because he is the guy we've seen that can make those kind of plays in those moments.
Yeah, I just think the biggest thing is for all of us, and him included, is just don't press. Like, let it come to you, and it will. Just go out and do your job every single snap, be where you're supposed to be, and the ball will find you.
How much better could Jedrick Wills be in year 2?
Great. That's a good question, and I've seen great improvement by him. Another guy that was a rookie with the big eyes, getting great coaching from Coach Callahan and Coach Peters, and then, basically finding a way to get through the season, being available for a lot of it, playing left tackle for us, and then the year 2 coming back and understanding what's expected of him, understanding the areas that he needs to improve, and he's looked really good.
Is the biggest jump for him in the run game?
Yeah, I think so. Some of the point of the attack run has been an emphasis working with him. But, Coach Peters, again, and Coach Callahan, they do a great job with that group. And they target what needs to be worked on, and they're definitely working their butts off at it.